Okay, so today I'm going to show you about a web extension called Helperbird that St Mary's College has begun trialling for students. It is an accessibility tool, so its purpose is to make online content or anything we can read from the internet more accessible and more easy for students to read and understand than they would otherwise be able to. So this is the website, helperbird.com. All of the students can actually download this on their Infinity laptops, and this has already been downloaded for them. And it actually appears up here in the corner. We have a little owl here. Here's our Helperbird. It's off until we choose to use it. So in a classroom scenario, perhaps a student has to do some research for an assignment and they are looking at volcanoes. They've done a search on the internet and they've come up to a website, and there's a lot of things here that they need to read, a lot of words, a lot of information, and it's quite daunting for any student to have to read through a lot of text at one time on the internet. And there's also other things going on over here. There are ads, there are links, there are videos in between. So sometimes it can be daunting for a student thinking, well, where do I even start? I'm not sure what to do here. I'm becoming a little bit disengaged with this research task. So up here we have Helperbird. So just to backtrack a little bit, Helperbird was created by a man who has dyslexia. So he created it because it helped him and people like him read and understand internet content. But it's not just for people with dyslexia or specific learning disorders with reading. It can be anyone who has problems focusing while reading on the internet, who might not have who might not be able to read for a long time because all the ads and the links popping up are sometimes distracting, or they just need to be able to zone in on exactly what they need to learn and read that and only that. Helperbird can help them do that. So if we're on a website, we can click on Helperbird up here, and out comes all of the things we can do. So we can change the font to whatever we like, whatever we prefer to read. We can zoom in, okay, so just go down here. We can zoom in by turning that on, okay, so I want to make it a little bit more, make the text larger by zooming in, and then we can read it that way. Just go back in there. Okay, I'm going to turn that off as I've shown you that one. We can change the way the words are spaced. Okay, we can space them out if that makes it easier for you to read or for the student to read. They can really personalize it to how they prefer to read and how they prefer to absorb and understand. You can change the line height. Now this one is an important one, reader mode. So if we turn on reader mode, okay, oh, there it is, okay. It puts all of the text in the middle of the screen. Okay, it's a 14-minute read. I'm not distracted by anything over here. I can simply scroll down and read, okay. Now, to build on that, and I have shown you this in Word and OneNote, Helperbird also has an immersive reader function. So let's just say, rather than read it myself, I want to have it read to me. Helperbird can do that. So I'm just turning on Immersive Reader. It takes a little while to load. And here we are. So it has zoomed in. And in the same way that OneNote had menu options, you can come up here and we can change the text size. We can change the font. We can change the background color. Okay, we can get it to highlight the syllables if we want. Okay, it has a picture dictionary. So sometimes if we click on a word, it will show us what it means. Okay, so Immersive Reader is really handy. And when we want to start reading, simply put the cursor where we want it to begin and press play. Well, let's just hide this. Press play down. Okay, so a student can quite simply listen to that being read to them. Whereas before, they may have had to read it themselves or print it out, read it, highlight it. They can actually listen to it online. And again, you can change the speed of the voice. You can change it to a male voice down here. So that's a really handy tool, is Immersive Reader. And when they want to exit out, they click out here. To move between different tools, they do need to turn them off. Otherwise, it will record the setting and it will be like that for every web page that opens. So when you're testing these things out, make sure you turn each one off after you've looked at it. Otherwise, it will come up again and again. For students who do have dyslexia, you can put specific features onto your text onto the web page. So you can have your Dyslexia Ruler on, which, okay, let's get it to follow the cursor. We'll make it green. So when we're reading, we can move our cursor down and it actually highlights the text that we're reading. And this can be helpful for students who sometimes they'll start at the beginning of the line, they'll read, get to here, and then sometimes we'll either come back here or we'll skip a line. But if we've got our highlighter going across, we know what we've just done, we can move to the next line. And you can change the width of this. That's a really handy tool, not just for students with dyslexia, but anyone who just wants to focus on what they're reading. Okay, so that one was Dyslexia Ruler. So we can turn that on and off. We can change the overlay if we like to read against a specific colour. Okay, turn that off. Cognitive load. What this does is it actually helps some students begin here and end here. Okay, so in that change of colour, it helps the brain to process where to start, where to finish, and then where to start back down here again. Again, it's just a tool that you can personalise or a student can personalise to suit them, whatever helps them to read and focus. We can choose to hide images on the screen. We can choose to we can highlight text, we can change text. There are so many options here. I won't go through all of them, but I will tell you that there is a really comprehensive website regarding Helperbird and a number of videos that you can watch, that students can watch, that parents can watch to help them understand all of the different tools and see if some of them will work for their student and help them read content online. So yeah, that's Helperbird. The school has purchased a subscription to this as a trial. So if you find the students are using this in class, please let the Head of Learning Support know so that they continue on with that subscription and encourage students to use it wherever possible and wherever helpful.